CountryWide CONNECT with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.
And Simon Watts, Minister for Local Government. Simon, g'day mate, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, no worries, Andy. I'm actually in the car with Louise Upston and the mighty Taupo at the moment, so we're out on the ground.
Oh, good. Hope it's a good day up there. We're in Christchurch and it's a ripper day here. Hey, Simon, just quickly, this announcement yesterday, local government, also with Chris Bishop, Minister for the RMA. What is the change? What are you asking councils to do?
Well, it's pretty fundamental change. We're giving councils, in effect, 3 months to put together a plan of how they can amalgamate with one of their neighbours or more so to basically simplify the local government model. We announced late last year the plan to remove regional councils. We're still on track to do that. But we did some consultation with the sector, and quite a lot of the sector said, you know what, we're ready to move now. We don't want to wait for the slowest councils. We want to get on with it. And so we've created a pathway for those councils to be able to get on with it. We're going to review those submissions. We'll take a decision around that. And if Cabinet like the look of it, then we'll look to legislate those unitary authorities next year. And so that's really going to get us out of the blocks and get us moving towards a more simplified local government.
Okay, so just on that then, you specifically, though, excluded regional councils. Why was that?
Well, regional councils aren't going to exist in the future model. There aren't going to be any elections of regional councils at the next election, which is 2028. That entity structure is not going to exist. And so what we've said to the territorial authorities, all 67 of them, is that you guys need to work together on a plan of how you're going to integrate those regional council activities into your entity. We want to see amalgamations where it makes sense, and that will be driven by local views and local community plans. And we want those plans in the next 3 months.
Yeah, so on the 3 months, that seems a very short period of time to expect councils to come up with a plan for something this significant. Councils normally have to go out to consultation, a whole lot of things. Are you genuinely expecting within 3 months councils will be able to come up with a proposal?
We are, and the reason why is that a large number of these groupings have already been doing pretty extensive work on this already. And let's be clear, local government are pretty good at consulting. So Southland, good example, the grouping's already working its way through an amalgamation process. Northland have also got basically got a plan already drafted, of which they've got commitment across the board. There's aspects of Wellington. There's a few councils in the Wellington region that actually did a referenda last local body election to amalgamate, so that's in play. So that's why we've got confidence that councils are going to be ready. 3 months, it doesn't, on one hand may not seem long, but these guys have been thinking about this for a long time. And the challenge is let's be clear, this conversation's been going on for decades, and there's been a lot of talk, and we need to crystallise the action. We need to actually make this happen, and that's why we're providing a pathway. It's voluntary. So, we'll see who puts plans in, but it is getting us on the right direction.
So if a region doesn't put in a plan, I think the policy or the announcement is that the government will do it for them. Is that correct?
That is correct, and we're going to formulate what that looks like in the early part of next year. Cabinet haven't taken decisions on what that model will look like. First and foremost, we want to support those councils that already have a plan and support those that are already taking the local, personal responsibility to get on with it. Support them first and foremost, and then we'll deal with the other councils when we announce sort of further plans around that early part of next year.
It was put to me yesterday, though, after this came out by a mayor of a district, that potentially they wondered whether the 3 months time frame was designed for them to fail, and the government had already made its decisions on what it was going to do in the regions anyway. It was almost like a box ticking exercise for the councils. Is that a realistic thought?
No, that's rubbish. Absolutely not the case. I mean, we are genuinely wanting to work with councils around this. the consultation we did, many councils gave us this feedback. That's why we've listened to them and said, okay, we'll do a Head Start pathway that allows you to move faster. That's why we've done this. And, you know, the feedback that we're having, and I've had from mayors across the country in broader senses, is, you know, they'd rather come up with their own plans than someone in Wellington dictating to them. That's not our style. You know, one size doesn't fit all. And, you know, there are nuances, particularly even between urban and rural. We need to get that aspect of local voice right. So, you know, balls in councils' courts now around the plan. And as I said, many of these council groupings have been working on this for a long period of time, and now's the point where the rubber needs to hit the road.
Do you have a sense of what you want? Like, for example, Southland has got 3 councils plus a regional. West Coast, where I live, 3 councils plus a regional. Is there sort of like a sense of a pattern or a structure that the government would like the councils to move towards?
Yeah, the way we've designed it is we've set some, in effect, principles that these plans need to meet. Principles such as protection of local voice. So the local voice component is really important from a localism point of view. So that needs to be a part of the plan. They need to be flexible to the new RMA reform program that's underway. They need to derive savings, right? They need to get efficiencies and reduce duplication. So that's part of it as well. And they need to be representative and supported by the communities at large. And so that's really making sure that, you know, the community are aboard on this journey as well. So there's 5 key principles. We've outlined what those are, and that's what the plans will be assessed against. Okay.
And so the councils themselves, effectively, mayors, councils have to sit down with their local, with their other councils and say, how are we going to make this work? Otherwise, you guys or the central government will do it for them, which is certainly crystallising. Were they expecting something of this magnitude, Simon? Like a couple of people I've spoken to, it sort of came out of the left field. They knew there were discussions, but I think they were very surprised.
Well, look, there's 67 different councils, right, across the board. So there's a degree of variation out there. That's part of the problem. You know, there's a lot of them. But no, in the main, you know, there's quite a lot of the groupings that have got quite formal governance already in play and have been, you know, for a couple of years. What really, I think, has given councils and local government confidence and capability is the local water done well reforms. That's really got them in the headspace that actually, you know, we can structure ourselves differently. We can be more efficient when we work with our partners and our mates on our borders. And, you know, so that going through that model's given a lot of councils the confidence to say, actually, if this can work for water, why can't it work for other council services? And at the end of the day, these councils are monopolies, right? And the water reform's really taken water out of councils and put a regulator on the outside of it, because we want to make sure there's good riverbanks, belts and braces. We now want to make sure that, you know, the broader other local government functions are also well structured as well. So no, look, we're pretty confident. There'll be a range of plans that come through. There'll be some councils that won't be able to get themselves in the right place, but you know, we're giving everyone the same position on the start line. We'll just see where they are on the 9th of August.
Final question, and I know and I appreciate your time. Are regional boundaries going to be sacrosanct in this, or might we see some councils amalgamating outside of their existing regional boundary?
We've been clear in the proposal that actually we are open to where councils want to have a different look at how they structure themselves. That may involve a change in boundary. That's pretty big in the context of making this work. But it was important from a ministerial point of view and from government that actually, you know, we give them a pretty clear empowerment, right? We give them a pretty clear blank sheet of paper and say, well, you tell us what you think will work, because we're only really going to have one chance. This type of scale of reform only happens pretty much every 30 years when we do the large-scale RMA reform. We've got one period to get this right. And look, I don't want to be constrained by the past. We want to learn from the mistakes of the past, but we also need to make sure we set ourselves up for the future. And we need to make sure these entities, local government entities, are match fit, are well structured, and actually are going to be delivering, you know, outcomes and services that ratepayers expect. And I think that's part of the challenge. There's been a period where, councils have been focused on, well-being, which pretty much is anything.
Yeah.
And ratepayers are really frustrated about the costs that they're having to pay, and we're getting them back to basics as well, which is another part of the reform we're rolling through. So it's all part of a broader package.
I tell you what I've been most surprised about is the lack of comment, because anyone who has any sense of local government understands the magnitude of this. This is fundamental. This is earthquake change kind of thing that you're right, we haven't seen anything like this probably 30, 60 years. We've seen so many attempts at amalgamation fail. This is going to be fascinating to watch. Simon Watts, Minister of Local Government, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming to us, and enjoy your day or wherever you are in Taupo today by the sound of it. Thank you.
Will do. Thanks very much.
CountryWide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.